Hi. So I just sort of want to talk a little bit about soul traps and how to escape them and some of the things that you should know. One of the things that you should know is that a lot of it is a new age pushing people into the scare place. They're trying to, give you stories of you're going to die and here's all the bad things that can happen to you. And you can see, reptilians and archons and greys and some dead relatives that are actually, like evolved disguised as a shape. And like now it's an entity looking like your dead loved one, like your grandpa or your husband and wife or your puppy, just trying to talk you into coming back and makes you lose your guard, or soul traps and just never ending stories of all the bad things that can happen to you after death. It doesn't happen to everyone. It doesn't happen to majority of people that leave Earth. And what I mean is there's a lot of people, a lot, ever since before internet as well, who have died. Of course, it's obvious. But the thing is, those that have passed away, a lot of them never ever even encountered anything bad in the first place. So a lot of these things that we hear and read about and see, and it's good for knowledge. It's good to know what to expect. It's like, you're going fishing. And if you accidentally get into water, what can you expect? Well, we hear stories of sharks, and oh my God, sharks will kill us. And it's just like scary, scary, scary. And all the bad things that can happen. Piranhas, oh my God. I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right for the fishy, but there's a bunch of cute little fishies that ain't gonna do anything to you. They see you and they run away. And we only focus on the negative, the possibility of a shark, which is like, let's say, a soul trap and an entity and white light and all these things, when you might never even encounter them in the first place because you're on the wrong side of the continent, so to speak. So a lot of people, doesn't matter what the story is about, let's say they have been alcoholics and they might have been into drugs and they overdose, they overuse, and they die because of that. Some of them have been simple housewives, helping out their family, pleasing their husbands, and they pass away too. Puppies, they die too. And all of these deaths eventually lead to them leaving this place and never even seeing a white light. Nothing about heaven or hell, reptilians or Dracos or anything that can mess with them. They just leave this place. They close their eyes here as their physical body dies, or they get into some hardcore accident and they still die with their eyes open. But on the day of their like them passing away, they don't just stick around flying here. There are cases, of course, we hear about them. Robert Monroe mentioned some people that died and never realized that. But there's a bunch of people leaving this place without ever encountering anything bad, without even having the knowledge of anything bad. They will just close their eyes and wake up in this void, or wake up on a whole different place that is their home, that is away from duality, away from this 3D. But their beliefs weren't really limiting. Even if they were into religion, some of them might just like wake up and be in a whole different place. And they still have all this time to choose what they want to do. But at the same time, with all the stories, it became more common. People are here or being trapped and messed with, and some groups come here and try to mess with, like, just trap people here on Earth and mess with them, harvest delusion. Like, hey, you're a godlike being, and you're kind of interfering with someone's game out there. But the thing is, the game is very close to being over, with the bad guys losing their main forces and they have to fall back. So there's a lot of good things happening in a way on planet and off planet that we don't really hear about, because who wants to talk about, the dark side losing when they're controlling most of the social media outlets now? But with that in mind, with all the stories we hear, and I am guilty of it too, I have a lot of questions with people. Can you talk about this? And I talk about it, and all of a sudden, like Vida is spreading the fear as well. But on the same note, the more we know about the possibilities and what to expect, this knowledge doesn't really kill us. It doesn't make it worse. It makes it like, I know what to like expect, and I know how to deal with it. Best case scenario, because a lot of people will hear a scary story and they will stop right there instead of finding out, okay, well, how do I deal with that? But with that in mind, learning, okay, soul traps, possibility, or the other things, what can happen after death. That's one thing. But how do you deal with it? We get trapped in soul traps or on Earth in the first place, or let's say even the physical universe, because like you might be in a 4D, 5D, and any kind of dimension you can think of, you can do your own thing. And all of this trap here, ending up here on Earth, starts with deciding to play the game. So you like, oh, well, I'm just gonna do whatever in this duality thing, whatever your story is about. And eventually you do agree to come to play the game. Doesn't matter how big it is. And you get interested, you get involved, like, you're going out and someone needs your help. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, sidetracked, but at least I did something good. It happens out there as well, in different ways. And with all that, sometimes we get captured. Sometimes we get issues. Sometimes we get like attacked and all. And that scare moment where it gives you so much stress that you're like, oh, and you don't know how to react. Like you read about Survival 101 on what to do when the ice breaks and you drop into the lake, or fire in the house, or this and that and that, and tons of scenarios of what to do in this hardcore situations when you need to survive, when you need to help, when you need to give them, I don't know, like CPR and everything else. All of these training you've had, some people, when dealt with the issue firsthand, they get scared. They get panicked. They're like, oh, and stunned and like deer with the headlights, like, what do I do? Like, it's just a lot to handle. So when you are like pushed into soul traps or lured into them and like things happen, or any case of meeting reptilians and greys and any kind of scary thing, easy for me to talk, but it's like they're trying to scare you. They're trying to make you think and feel that you can't do anything. Like getting into the soul trap of, let's say there's a planet and there are planet eaters, those that devour the whole thing with all the beings in it. And the body of that planet eater is like a black hole or the abyss where you keep on falling and falling and falling and falling. And a lot of people have like fear of heights or falling from somewhere because they've been through it. Some, not everyone, like it's just like one little case of people. But at the same time, when you're falling and you're trying different things of, oh, I can't fly, like you're trying something and it doesn't work. You're trying various things with, like maybe flying, maybe trying to have a thought, maybe trying like the other thing, grab on something or create your reality at that moment, but it doesn't work. And with that, we get the perception of, oh, I'm limited. Oh, I can't do anything. I'm stuck here. I keep on falling. And that scare tactic that creates the perception of something that you cannot do, where it seems like you lost your powers. It seems like at that moment you couldn't do anything. And you start thinking and feeling that is where you start creating your reality. So the whole thing of, oh, I can't get out of here, which a lot of people want to get out of body, but we're going to have these hardcore agreements and beliefs that I can't get out of here. I am stuck. I can't fly. I'm afraid to get out of here, or I'm afraid of death. And like all of these things that sort of control our life one way or the other, it comes from those incidents. With someone's gave you a good scare or this perception of a thing. And it's like putting on VR glasses. There's plenty of videos with this VR game where you're sort of on a skyscraper and you're walking on this board and you're like, whoa, and you have a glasses. So you like see the whole world differently. You feel differently. People can be having, a board on the ground. And there's a person I saw just this morning, on their hands and knees and shaking and just trying to move forward. And wife kicks her husband or the guy who's on the board with VR glasses, and he has panic. He's like shaking and everything. And for him, it was a huge scare because there was a perception that he was falling, even though he knew that he was playing a game. He knew that it wasn't real, but it felt like it. And that perception that the bad guys or certain groups create that you are trapped, that you can't do anything, at that moment, when you start believing it, that's where you as consciousness put yourself in a cage of identity of, I can't do it. I can't get out of here. I am trapped. I am stuck. And with all these things, they can only affect your perception. they can only affect your perception. And the moment you buy into their lies and believe what they want you to believe, you get trapped and you play out their story and you do what they want you to do and act how they want you to act. So the key is, let's try out to understand this reality or what's going on and find like, hey, is this for real? Because it's like showing a movie or VR. And as consciousness, you have to start to stay calm in those moments and try out every single thing you can think of, because they can only give you the perception. And if you can like, oh, they just make me feel like I'm falling. They just make me feel like I'm stuck. And that's not the case, because I know I'm godlike being. I'm consciousness. I don't need to have a body. I can be point of view. And this point of view can move from here to there within seconds if you have an intention, if you have a thought. And it's that simple. But when they make you feel like you're in that space and you can't get out of here for a moment because you tried flying and you couldn't fly, when you actually don't even need a body, when they give you that perception and you buy into it, that's where you get stuck in the soul trap. And all of the beliefs afterwards where, you couldn't get out of here, you're stuck, that's how they get you here on earth. That's how they forcefully incarnate you when you get into a soul trap, because you were thinking you couldn't get out, you have no power anymore, you can't fly, you can't do anything. And that's how you get pushed into being here on earth. So once you can control your perception and react to like, oh, I'm being messed with, so I'm just going to turn into point of view because I don't need a body. I am consciousness. You can leave, go away, be free, do your thing, and go from there. So again, it's really important to remember that they're only trying to affect your perception, to affect how you see the world and your reality, because everything you're experiencing it is real to you because you're creating it one way or the other. And you can stop creating it. They make you feel like, oh, it seems like I'm falling, and you buy into that feeling because you thought about it and sort of confirms how you see it and feel it. And yeah, well, that's the thing. And once you buy into your own story or someone else's given story that you start thinking about and feeling about, you're gonna become that. With all that, some of the people ask like, hey, well, if you go into the white light, can you still escape it? I have no idea. I haven't met any beings or talked to anyone that has done it successfully, go in and get out. I've only talked to those that gone in and ended up here on Earth, that have memory of like, well, I saw the light, like white light, and went in, and that's what happened. Next thing I know, it was bright for a long time. I couldn't do anything, and then I just woke up, and my mom gave birth to me, and various things that can happen in that time. But again, what if it's all just a perception? You go into the white light and they make you feel like, oh, I can't sort of get out. Like, seems like I'm just trying it wherever it goes, just white light. But it's a perception of white light. Maybe. I haven't looked into it. I haven't met any beings. So it's like, okay, well, that would be another research to do. But what if? What if it's just a perception that someone else is trying to give to control you? So that being said, hopefully, you might get some ideas of how to control your life better, because again, they want you to buy into the story, some scare story, so that you would believe it and sort of give your powers away. And it's hard. It's hard when all of the things are happening and, all you can see and think and feel is bad. You're going to buy into that bad story, buy into let's say, oh, I'm poor, I can't make any money, I'm really unlucky, I can't find a girl, or I can't find a guy, and I'm a targeted individual. But when everything you see and feel and experience, it's that, and it's still, they're trying to make you think like that so that you would constantly focus on it and attract it. The same way to be them is to change your story. You don't have to lie to yourself like, yeah, I'm being targeted, but at the same time, I'm creating my own reality. And at any point in time, I can gain the power back and hey, tons of techniques to change the game. Maybe go instead of defensive mode into the attack mode. And what if I'm freaking rich? What if I have the money and I get the girl I want or the guy I want and other things? It's a huge subject, but later on that one. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you get something out of this, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.